Joining us now is someone known as a billionaire, a climate activist, and now a candidate for California Governor, Tom Steyer. Tom, thank you so much for being with us.
Actually, it's great to be with you.
Tom, what pushed you ultimately to get into the race this week?
Well, the reason I'm running is that California is in an affordability crisis. Californians can no longer afford to live in California. And I think everybody knows that. And the question is there somebody in the race who can actually get results and make it possible for Californians, working families, to live the life they've earned and deserve? That's why I'm running, to be that person.
Did you not see that in any of the candidates in this wide field of Democrats, especially that are running for governor right now?
Well, I think everybody knows the problem, Ashley. But if you go back and look for the last 15 years, I have been getting results for Californians as a private person in the public sector. So I've taken on the oil companies and won. I've taken on the tobacco companies and won. I've taken on out-of-state companies that had a tax loophole and weren't paying their fair share in California. And in all those cases, we won. And I've put billions of dollars into the education and health funds of Californians without charging them a nickel. What I'm looking for here is somebody who has a history of results. Because if we're going to solve this problem, we all know California is getting a reputation for being right about what trying to do, but not able to do it. We need somebody who will actually get results for working Californians. And I've got a 15-year history of getting results when the legislature can't and delivering for working families.
That was as a private businessman. You said in your launch video, Sacramento politicians are afraid to shake up the system. How would you do that?
Well, first of all, let me say that the people who are elected officials in Sacramento, they want their constituents to be able to live in California too. I think we're going to have to do some new things, just as in the past. When I took on corporations and won, there was a logjam because of the power of those corporations, because of their money. I expect that with new ideas that I have about how to bring down the cost of housing, how to bring down the cost of electricity and things like that going forward, the elected officials in Sacramento, the legislatures, will definitely want to work with me. But I also understand that it's easy to say that and it's hard to get things done. And if we can't get things done through the legislature, I'm prepared to do what I've done in the past, which is go directly to the people and make sure that their interests are directly represented. That this is a state where rent doesn't drive them out of the state, where the cost of electricity, driving down the cost of electricity is great for working families. It's also great for the corporations that work in this state. Driving down costs is good for everybody.
Just to get more specifics there, though, so if you're taking on corporations, I know the utility companies is something that you mentioned. I mean, just to drill down on specifics, are you expecting them to pay more, provide more resources, put up more money in this state than they do right now?
Well, actually, there's a number of things we're talking about. Let's talk about, you brought up the utilities. Let's talk about the utilities for a second. Basically, Los Angeles has twice the normal cost of electricity as the rest of the United States. It's up 34% since 2019. And a utility is by definition a monopoly. And monopolies, the rule for monopolies is provide the worst service at the highest price because it's a monopoly and there's no place else to go. What I want to do is break the monopoly and introduce competition to California so people are competing to bring you electricity at lower prices. That's a structural change. Obviously, the powers that be, the establishment won't like that, but that's okay because that's what we're going to have to do to drive down costs for working Californians and California businesses. And I believe people in the legislature will understand that, but it's something we've got to do. And that's just an example. Of course, there are tax loopholes too, but that's a separate question.
I mean, but PG&E, for example, I assume is one of the monopolies that you're talking about. I mean, they have a lot of sway and influence at our state capitol right now in this moment. Are you not concerned that that could impact your campaign negatively as you try to run for governor?
Actually, my job is to go directly to the people of California to talk about the problem we all know exists, which is affordability, to talk about my record so they can trust to know that I get results, that when I say I'll do something, I actually do it, and to outline to them how I can be a champion for them every single day. Do I think that I've said publicly, people aren't going to like that, but people didn't like it. The tobacco companies don't like me. The oil companies don't like me. The out-of-state companies that didn't want to pay fair taxes in California don't like me. But I can't care about that, and I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that working California families can afford to live here, get the life that they've earned and deserve, including services from the state. That's my job. It's not to worry about corporate interests.
Okay, switching gears here, Tom, I want to ask you about some big news this week when it comes to California's budget issues. The state's legislative analyst office this week said the state is facing a significant shortfall this year of $18 billion with big deficits in the years to come, putting lawmakers and the governor at a critical point where they basically need to decide whether to cut spending, raise taxes, or do a combination of both. I don't expect you to know all of the details at this moment, but just off the top here, what would you do or how would you try to approach the situation?
Well, Ashley, what you're saying to me is that the very affordability crisis that I'm describing is getting worse. And I think we all know that. So I think when you look and you say, what is going to be the response? Of course, it's not going to be a silver bullet. You asked earlier, are we going to change the way we approach corporations in terms of structure and utilities? Yes. Are we going to close tax loopholes? Look, I love when companies come here. I love that we create the greatest companies in the world. I love that we invent the future. But it's also true that the companies here are living in an ecosystem that is built by working people, that is supported by working people, and we need to rise together. When you say, what is the plan? The plan, of course, is all of the above. Of course, we're going to close loopholes, but we're also going to look really carefully at every single line to make sure that we're prioritizing money to the most important things. And look, that's my history. I mean, I grew up starting and building businesses. I'm used to the idea that you live in a constrained environment with not limitless resources. And therefore, you have to look really carefully about what are the most important things to get done. I'm used to getting results, to measure, to setting goals, real goals, and then achieving them in a difficult environment. And that's where we are, and it's going to get more difficult. Mr. Trump's going to make it more difficult. We all know that. And that's why it's really important that there's somebody in the governor's chair who's representing working Californians, know the stresses they're in day to day of affordability, and stands up for them every single day, regardless.
But Tom, before I let you go, I mean, again, knowing what you know about California's financials, do you think the state needs to cut back on spending? Do you think there should be some increased taxes? Or do you think there should be a combination of the both or none of the above?
Look, I'm saying we're going to close tax loopholes, and that's very substantial money. Look, the tax loopholes that I closed already are worth billions of dollars directly to California for education and health. Do we need to do more of that? Absolutely. Are we also absolutely going to have to go through the budget to make sure that the highest priorities are being met? That's got to happen. And the last thing I'll say is this, Ashley, we're going to have to imagine, look, this is what Californians do, and this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to imagine a different way of doing things that's better, that is better for the people of California, that ends this affordability crisis, or at least makes it a whole lot better. And we're going to have to imagine that, and we're going to have to set those goals, and then we're going to have to make it happen. That's about management according to measurement. And that is absolutely what we're going to do, and we are going to achieve results for Californians. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what my history says I can do.
All right. Tom Steyer, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Ashley, thank you very much.